Welcome back to my channel, guys, once again. So guys, I recently have an interview with companies like EPAM System, Birlasoft, Wipro, IBM and EY for the Java full stack role. By this, I mean I'm focusing on React for the UI side and Java alongside Spring Boot for the backend side. I'm sure, guys, you are also aware that nowadays companies are seeking for individual who are proficient in both UI and backend development, right, guys? So I have decided to share all the coding questions that were asked to me, which can help you guys in case if you have any interview rounds in future. So guys, I got very decent package recently, and I'm sure if you guys prepare all these questions before your interview, you will also able to secure a good amount of package, just like I recently did, right? So guys, without any further delay, let's dive into these questions, and I'll try to explain you with the help of examples. So guys, yeah, these are the question for the React and Java both, which were asked to me when I appeared for all these companies. So I'll cover it one by one. So initially I'll try to cover Java first, then later on we'll try to cover React. So over here, if you see the first question, write a code to print non-repeating character in a string using Stream API. So I'll explain you with the help of example. So I'll already have written this code. So over here, if you see, we have a string which is having non-unique character basically. So what you have to do, you have to print all the unique characters and the count as well along with that character. So let's say over here, if you see this string A is appearing only one time. So what does that mean? You want to print the output A is equal to 1. Similarly, B is having 2 times. So we don't want to print non-unique character basically. You only want to print unique character. So D as well is appearing only single time. Similarly, H. So over here, if you see the output as well, we got A is equal to 1, D is equal to 1. That is what we want to print, right? So yeah, you can make use of Stream API by applying char function. This will eventually convert your string into an streams. Then later on you apply map to obj to convert or typecast each and object into a character. Then later on you can make use of grouping by, which will group it by each and every character, and you have to print the count, right? So how you can make use of, you can call that method collectors.counting to print each and every character count, right? So why I'm getting this output only, why I'm not getting C? Because if you see, I'm iterating over this map, and later on I have added one condition. If the value equal to 1, that means only the count of character which is having a single time, which is appearing only single time, that's what I want to print. So that is why we are getting unique characters, right? Coming back to the second question, write a code to rotate an array to the right to the kth step. So this was the question which was asked to me in 2 of the companies, EPAM and EY basically, and I'll explain you with the help of example. If you see we have nums array, right? So what we want, it's something we want to rotate to the right or to with the kth step basically. So k, where if you see, we have given k is equal to 3. So array index start from 0. So 0, then 1, then 2, and then 3, right? So what we want, we have to entirely shift this part to the right side of that array, right? So over here, if you see the output, we got 5, 6, 7, then 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And this is also a question of lead code, question number 189. Coming back to the third question, write a code to print kth largest element in an array. So this question somewhat similar to if we want to find second largest element or third largest element or first largest element in an array. So you can try to make use of this question. This is also part of lead code to question number 2 and 5. So I already have written one method to find this kth largest element. If you see, we have one method, find kth largest element. Inside this accepts a num array and k value is equal to 2. So that means you want to found the second largest element, right? And later on I'm using a priority queue. Why priority queue? Because I want that, okay, the moment if I add element, I want in a sorted manner. So by default, priority queue add the elements in a sorted format, right? And later on, if you see, I'm iterating over this to the nums array, and then I'm adding it by using min heap. So min heap that dot add of I, right? And later on I've added this condition. Why? Because I want the moment the size got greater than 2. Let's say you have added 1, then you have added 2, and then 3, right? total size of this is 3, right? So obviously this condition got satisfied because 3 is greater than 2, right? So it will come inside this. So what this will do, poll method something to delete your primary or your initial node or your initial element. So what this will do, this will delete your first element, your one element, and then again it will iterate, and again your size will your condition got satisfied, then it will delete 2, then similarly 3, and then 4, and at the end you will only get the 5 and 6 element. And then later on, if you see, I'm printing this and by calling this peak method. So peak method something which will fetch the first element basically. So over here if you see, we have 5 6, the only element which left in this min heap. So this will print fifth element, that is called fifth, your 5 element number fifth basically, right? So that is something you can do. And even if you see, you can increase the time complexity as well by using priority queue. Yeah, you can make use of brute force approach, means you can use your for loop as well, but that will not give you a optimal solution basically. So coming back to the fourth question, explain microservice design pattern you have used in your project. So this is the question which were asked to me a number of times. And so what basically interview means is something, what kind of patterns you have used in creating microservice based architecture. So what I know is something API gateway we have, right? So for single rerouting endpoint, we have Hystrix library, right? A kind of circuit breaker pattern in case if any fault tolerance occurs. So we want to give the fallback response to the user that okay, this API is not working, please after some times, right? And third, we have service discovery, where we register our services for load balancing, and in case if any microservice gets down, then we can have their n number of instances that we can make use of, right? Similarly, we have Saga pattern, we have CQRS pattern. So that is what something is focusing on this question particularly. The fifth question over here is how you have handled fault tolerance behavior. So just like I mentioned, library that is called Hystrix. So let's say you have an API, and that is a client is continuously fetching this API, but your API is not working currently. So what you want, we don't want that user continuously try to hit this API so oftenly, right? Instead, what we can do, we can make use of this library that is called Hystrix, and we can try to return some fallback response that is called something, let's say this API is not working currently, please try after some times, in case if any threshold count exceeds, right? So that is what you can do in your you can make use of your Hystrix library. So sixth question over here is construct a map using Stream API. So what this means is the interview has given me this code which is fetching the list of employee, and he wants me to construct a map by using Stream API, right? So over here if you see, this is the map which interviewer wanted to expect from me. So it's pretty simple. If you see that I have already written the answer of this question as well. So what you can do, you can apply the streams on this employee list, employee.stream.collect, and you can make use of grouping by return you a map. And if you see what he want key as a string, so and he wants city map, right? So what I can do, I can apply a method operator and I can pass a get city, right? The city method, get method of city, right? So that is something which we can do, and we can convert this into a city map. So seventh question is something, write a code to print maximum salary of employee in each department. This again he wanted me to make use of Stream API. So I'll explain you with the help of example. I already have written one example of this. So over here if you see this code, I have one list, and which is I'm iterating over by using streams. Then later on I'm using grouping by, right? Why? Because grouping by, because he want maximum salary of each department. That means department wise maximum salary you want, right? So obviously you need to group it by department, right? So that is why grouping by. Inside I pass dot get department method, and later on I'm using character.max by. So why max by? Because I have to print maximum salary, right, of each employee. So I'm using max by. So max by is a method which takes a comparator. So that is why I'm passing a comparator over here. So why which type of comparator? Basically we want salary, right? Maximum salary. So that is why I've given a salary method over here by using method operator, right? So later on you can iterate over this map and you can print the values. The eighth question over here is write a code to print 3 highest percentage student, right? So let's say you have one student class and you have some fields, student ID, student name and student percentage. So what you want to print those students who's having higher percentage, means your 3 student which is having highest percentage basically in your class. So I'll show the code as well. So over here if you see, again I have used make use of streams, then sorted method to sort it based on your percentage, right? Based on the percent I've sorted this, and later I'm using reverse. Why reverse? Because I have sorted in increasing order, but I want the maximum, the 3 maximum salary, right? Percentage student, right? That is why I've reversed it. And later on I've used limit. Why limit? Because I only want the 3 students to be printed, right? So that is why limit, and later I'm connecting to the list. So this is something which you can do to get 3 highest percentage students. And ninth question is something solid principles, guys. So I hope you already have heard about solid principles, that in case if you are working any real-time scenario project, obviously you should have a proper knowledge that how you can make use of solid principles. So for example, let's say you have open close principles, right? Liskov principles, right? Dependency injection principles. So you as a developer should know all these things, that how you can make use of, right? So yeah, Java part is completed, and coming back to the React part. So what are hooks and what all hooks you have used in your project? So I'll explain you with the help of example over here. I'll show you what exactly the hooks is. So if you see, I've written use state. So this is part of hooks, right? Why? What does that mean? Basically, when user tries to fill any form, let's say your first name, your last name, so that data somewhere you have to store, right, on your UI side. So that is why we use state to manage the states whatever user is passing, right? So we have n number of hooks. Basically we have use effect, we have use memo, we have use context. There's a part of context API. We have user, that is a part of your Redux library. We have use memo, we have use callback, right? So we have n number of hooks, and even you can make your own custom hook as well. So how you can create one custom hook, and you can call that custom hook by using use keyword. That's how we can make use of custom hook as well. Second question over here is what are pure components and what are high order components in React. So I'll again explain with the help of example. So pure component, if you see, is a part of class based component basically, right? We use in class based component. So how you can achieve by extending your pure component, if you see, is a part of React pure component. So why we need pure components in React? Just because we want to avoid re-rendering of your unnecessary component, right? We don't want to render your component unnecessary, right? Even if the prop is not been changing, that then also sometimes what happen, our component, this user component gets re-renders, right? So we only want whenever any props or state changes of this component, then only we want the re-rendering part, right? So eventually it will helps you to increase the performance of React as well. What are high order components? If you'll explain you with the help of example once again. So high order component which takes a different component as a params or as a props. If you see, I have one with logger component which takes a different component as a props. So over here I will show you. So see, I have created with this component a function based component, and I'm passing this to my with logger. So that is something over here. If you see with logger component, right? If you see counter, right? So that, and what we can make use of later on, we can apply some enhanced functionality or modify it, and we can return this the wrapped component by applying some enhanced functionality. So that is why we use HOC, high order component basically. How you will call backend API and handle exception, write the code for it. Yeah guys, this is also the question which were asked to me in 2 or 3 companies. So what they basically want is something you can write the code for backend API, how you guys call. So in my case, what I use basically exhaust library. I'll show you the code. If you see my API component, so this is having some use states, And over here if you see, I am having fetch data method. So this, from the name itself, you will be able to understand this. This is fetching the data from your backend API. How? If you see, I'm using Axios, the library which is available in the React, and .get method is basically your get API, right? This will fetch your backend API data, where if you your localhost I've written and your endpoint name. So this will fetch your backend data from your backend API, and it will store in this constant response, and later on you set the data by using respond.data, right? And you can also handle this by using try catch, because this eventually give you the promise, right? Why? Because we are using async event, right? So this will eventually will give you a promise. So that is what we can write the code for backend API and handle exception as well. Fourth question over here is how you will improve performance of a READT application. So guys, this is also the very famous interview question. So there are which I know there are two ways basically. By make use of use memo, we have that is called a hook, and use callback, right? So what these hooks will basically do, will try to avoid your re-rendering part. So let's say you have one component, that is your parent component, and you have one child components. So what happen, even if you don't want to call your child component, so the moment you change something in your parent component, then your child also get re-renders, right? We don't want that. Instead, we only want that if any of the props of parent is getting changes, we only want the parent should re-render, not the child ones, right? So we can make use of your these hooks, that is called use memo and use callback. So this will eventually increase the performance of REACT application. So in React 18 there are other ways that you can make use of, which one I know is automatic batching. So that is also a React latest feature you can make use of to increase the performance. Fifth question over here is which library you have used to write test cases. Yeah guys, obviously when you work in a real-time project, you as a developer also required to write the test cases, right? Why? Because just to avoid your bugs in QA, we don't want the unnecessary bugs should be pop up in later on into the different environment, right? So that is why we need test cases. So how you can write test cases? Just by adding .txt extension .test, and it will automatically React will automatically get understand, okay, this is a test file. Similarly, we write in Java JUnit test case somewhat similar to we write in React as well, by using a test keyword. Inside that we pass one message that what exactly our tests will be doing, right? So this test method basically display initial to do items, right? And this accepts second argument, that is called callback function. And over here if you see this code, this is basically the test case which is written for your app.js file, right? So that is why I'm rendering over here is this your app component. And later on what I'm doing is something by checking, okay, expect is something which will return your true or false value. So expect is somewhat similar to your assert which we do in Java 8, right? Or Java Spring Boot application, right? So this get by text is something a part of your Zest library of React. So and even the to be in the document is also part of Zest library. So what basically it will check, okay, get by text list 1 is present in document. If not, return false. If yes, it return true. So this is the way which we can check, okay, whether our code is working fine or not, right? So you can have a number of test cases in your class, depending on their requirement. So yeah guys, these are the questions which were asked to me, and hope you like it. Yeah, thanks.